tell her stop drifting the ambulance, like please get me to the hospital safely. So basically, once I watched the Fast and Furious movie, that was one of the biggest push. And then starting to drive, that was another push. Then watching a lot of videos everywhere. It's just that a lot of UAE in general, people love cars. Then I think before even I got my license, one of my friends had a license, had a car. He had a Land Cruiser. So he had this, we went together, he was like, oh, we're gonna increase the sound of the car. I was like, so it's gonna sound like boom boom. And I was like, I was like that, literally like boom boom. I didn't know what is an exhaust, what is what. And he's like, yeah, you'll hear it sounds so much better. And at that moment we used to look at those cars which make sound and we'd be like, wow, that car is modified. Even though it's just like filters, headers, exhaust, whatever, but we like, whoa, look, that must be a fast car. Everybody would be like, car with a sound is a fast car. From there, once I got the Eclipse and it was heavily modified, and I was like flooring it and stuff, and I was like, wow, you know, these cars and power and everything, it's just all comes together, you know. And I was like, I always watched it, now experiencing it, it's another thing. So that's where I started pursuing cars. Obviously I'm gonna choose JDM because this is what I love. Muscle, I like the muscle cars. I've sat in a lot of my friends' cars, and I like that most V8 powers, now they're introducing more supercharger and stuff like that, so it's powerful. You see those guys making 800, 900, but then muscle comes with weight. Heavy, really heavy. Americans have done really good, but they need to figure out weight reduction in their cars. German, I have a really good friend, he has an Audi. Usually my mind on German is like, especially staying in UAE, if it rains, like when it rains in winter, you would see a puddle, a BM or a Merc or something going through that, and then suddenly you see these cars stopped by on the side. This is my idea on most German cars, like one thing goes wrong, the car is unstartable, like not working, you know, like you're stuck in the side of the road. Here, maybe some of them are not reliable. Like my friend's car is perfect, like he had no issues till now. But as I see it, I would say like they're quite expensive to fix as well, parts wise, because they're all European, so they're quite expensive cars. So yeah, I wouldn't maybe get something in the future, but as a daily drive, not to touch, to mess around with. But yeah, that's German for me. But for me, JDM is the best. I went for this drive with 86 group. They had this go-karting event, so we went there. I was excited because I love go-karting. Me and my friend were like back to back every weekend. We would go-karting, enjoy. It was in Ras Khema, so we were racing. This go-kart in front of me spins out. I avoid him, and then like he kind of like after he spun out, he came and he hit me. Now I've done go-karting since I was 14, so I had no crazy accidents. But my body was out of the chair, and I heard a click. I was like, you know, at that moment I was just like, something broke. So I pulled over. I stopped. I did what they want me to do. I put my hand up, and I'm trying to breathe. I feel like everything's flashing in front of my eyes. I'm like, I'm done. I'm dead. I broke something. All my friends come up. Two of my friends came running, and one of my friends goes like, Ameen, stop joking. Let's get up. It's like, bro, I can't. I really can't. They took out my shoes. They took out my helmet. Everything. I was like, I need an ambulance. I think I broke something like here, like in my ribs. and they called an ambulance. It came to the truck. When they picked me up, I screamed so loud because I still remember it was like so painful. They picked me up, I screamed. I was like, guys, like pretty much. They wouldn't even give me water because if the ribs went through the lung, I would drown myself if I drank. So they put me on heavy medicine. I'm in the, and that day I drove the Supra to Iraq. So my worries are about the car, who's gonna drive it back, and how am I gonna drive it? How am I gonna get to the car? And she's driving, and I'm like high on these gases. I'm telling my friend, tell her to stop drifting the ambulance. Like, please get me to the hospital safely. And we got to the hospital. They did all the checks and stuff. Like, she comes with the X-ray. She's like, yeah, you have 4 broken ribs. What do you want to do? Yeah, we want you to stay here 3 days, 2 days under observation. So we make sure like everything's okay and it hasn't punctured your lungs in any way. And I was like, my family doesn't know nothing. So I was like, I want to go back to Sharjah. Okay, you go check on that. I called my friend. Like, listen, you're gonna drive me from here to my car first. Let's check up on that. One of the guys who very close to me, who's allowed to drive my car, he's gonna drive the car back, and we're gonna go back to Sharjah. And he was like, Ameen, she just said you need to go in an ambulance. I don't care. I'm more worried about my car right now. It's like nothing's gonna happen to your car. I checked on the guys, checked, it's there, don't worry about it. I was like, okay, send one of my friend, to go drive the car, and you take me to Sharjah because I don't want to stay in Ras Al Khaimah. I discharged under my own responsibility. I went, I sat, I moved on a wheel. They took me on a wheelchair next to my car. I jumped in the car. I told my friend, listen, I was like, please drive slowly. Do not turn hard, nothing. He drove me like very slowly all the way to Zahra Hospital in Sharjah. I admitted myself there. They checked everything, reports and everything. They admitted me. They're like, okay. Then I was like, okay, I'm gonna call my parents now. Called my family. They came. So everything was fine. I stayed in the hospital for a week, then came back home. Another week. Now I started missing my car, my friends, everyone. My family doesn't want me to let go out. Called my friend, told him, listen, I want to go out of the house. He's like, okay, what do you want me to do? Get me a wheelchair. I didn't have a wheelchair at home. I told him, go buy me a wheelchair and come pick me up. He came, he bought a wheelchair, he came to my house, ting tong, and my mom's like, yes, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm going out. Then they couldn't stop me, so I went with my friends, passed by my car, looked at it, had fun. After that, every day I would go on a wheelchair with my friends. Then I started moving on these crunches, and then that was one of the crazy stories. It was in the Maxima a long time ago. We were driving, music on, chilling. We were quite fast on the first lane, and then like this other car, it from out of nowhere, he would just like, he cut 3 lanes to come into the first lane. Last second I see him come. So now he comes to the first lane, halfway. There's the barrier on the left. My friends, everybody got quiet. We crossed between him, hitting his side mirror, and the barrier, hitting the barriers. So my side mirrors literally went like that. Crossed them, came back. Everybody was silent for like 5 minutes. And then we took deep breaths. We were like breathing, and we were like, okay, let's go pray. Like, khalas, it was such a close call. And I know because I thought to myself at that moment, if I brake, I'm crashing into him. There is no chance. If I brake, I'm crashing into him. All I did was accelerate, and that was my only option. And that was very, I would say, one of the really close calls. Like, I couldn't do anything. So, wildest nights.